5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I believe that we are live. We're going to do a double check. We have Michael, the Storage Auction Pirate, here with us, and we are live.
Oh, yes, we are definitely live.
Great. All right. Well, welcome, Michael. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to talk to the viewers. We're going to wait till some people roll in, and then we will go ahead and I'll read this little introduction that I wrote for you, and we'll go from there. How was your day?
My day was it was great, all things considered.
Go ahead and I'll read this. Okay. Yeah, it looked like you were working pretty hard on that unit.
Yeah, I chose to skip going back to my $34,000 unit today because I bought this other one I was extremely intrigued in, and it wasn't quite as impressive as I was hoping. But you know, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah, good deal.
It was nasty though.
Yeah, nothing like a shower after digging through the dust, huh?
It's not the dust that bothers me because that's like one of my turn-ons is dust, but it's the rat poop that kind of, you know, like when you're like you ever go anywhere with like massive amounts of rat poop in every box you pick, and they're falling in your eyes.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's disgusting, man. You should be wearing a mask. I think that dust is not good for you.
I had my Corona mask on today, but I didn't have protective wear for my eyes, and it's like, it gets annoying.
All right, we're going to say hi to some people here. We've got just me, Kathy's popped in. We've got Christopher Lopez. That is my nephew. Got my sister in here. We've got Jennifer Hayes. Thanks for being here, Jennifer Hayes. And we have Caffeinated Christy. Got 6 people in the chat. We're going to wait till we get to about 10, and then we'll go ahead and start this thing. Now, you guys make sure you think of some questions because we've got him here now. So if there's anything you want to ask him, this is going to be the time. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get right into this. This is a little introduction I wrote for him. Here we go. You've seen this man in action on YouTube for the past 9 years. These eye-catching thumbnails and click-worthy titles have brought his channel to 103,000 subscribers to date. But it hasn't always been a smooth road. He's overcome opposition and adversity and multiple trials. Never backing down from the bricks life has thrown at him, he has prevailed. He's a father, a mentor, and to many, He's a father, a mentor to many, and a shot caller in his own lane. I'm privileged to introduce to you Michael, the Storage Auction Pirate. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Hi.
All right. So we're just going to jump right into it, bud. Is that good?
I'm game.
Sounds good.
Easy.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us where it all began, meaning break down the first 7 years of your life for us, Michael. As we know, the experts say that the first 7 years are the most formative years. So tell us about those first 7 years, and we'll go from there.
How vocal you want me to be about my first 7 years? Because I'm a very open person, but I've had a very, I don't know the right word, traumatic or strenuous childhood. It was a lot to overcome from my childhood. So
right. And, you know, as comfortable as you feel divulging your information, but
I hold nothing back. I just worry sometimes because people don't like certain things talked about on their channel or topics.
No, man. This is a free, open forum. Spill your guts. We want to know how you got to where you are now, because everything that happened in the first 7 years kind of plays into right now.
The first 7 years mold you of your life, and my first 7 years of life was probably one that should have broke me. You know, like, to be honest with you, for lack of better words, I know a lot of people who have grown up like me, who have been in similar situations, and they end up with a lot of trauma and things that hold them back. But like this right here is everything. Real quick, this quote was sent to me by a subscriber. I think it was Boatman. I forget, but I'm not positive. But it's hard to beat a person who never gives up, and that is like the epitome of my life. Like, my parents were both drug addicts. They were addicted to meth and alcohol, pills, et cetera, et cetera. And my childhood was very, I had a lot of abuse, physical, sexual. My parents started me smoking weed when I was a year old. I've smoked my whole life now because of this, but it's not something that affects me like it does other people. It's like drinking water to me, but that is something that I learned almost as an infant before I can walk, you know? So I've lived through a lot of things that would actually break people, and somehow it's been what's built me. I don't know I don't know the answer to what has ever kept me going through all that, at least trying to be positive and continue, but something in my head doesn't give up. I always want more. I want better. it did almost break me. About 8 years ago or 9 years ago, I started doing things like chakra specialist. I spent 4 years with a lady who helped me face things like the physical abuse or bullied in school or things of the sexual abuse, all the different things I confronted that through chakra. When I would go to her once a week and I would cry and pretend like I was putting people in cages and killing them and just weird little exercises they do.
Right.
I tried Reiki for a while because I thought that was cool. I have a lady who deals with monks in Laos. She's a friend of mine in a flea market, but her family is from Laos. So I've reached out to people like that to help me. I've reached out to Santeria to find answers. And I've done almost every type of avenue I can to let go, because that is the most important thing. It doesn't matter what happens. It's what you do with it. You know, like it's how you process it and what it molds you into. And I've done everything I can to try to turn all of those things into a positive. You know, like I wouldn't be me right now, this person that continually keeps going, if it wasn't for those traumatic things that I went through.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The fact that wow, that's a lot. That was a whole lot in one huge 5-minute section there, bud.
As I said, yeah. I'm a very open person. Sometimes I hold myself back on YouTube because maybe subscribers don't want to hear it or other people might not accept it. But truly, and if you were to see me in regular life, there's nothing that I don't. I'm very open about everything.
Yeah, and you seem to be the kind of person that almost welcomes adversity and trials and says, "Bring it, because I've got it for you." Am I right?
Yeah, you know, it's like Lil Wayne says, one of my favorite rappers, "You try to kick me while I'm down, I'll break your leg." Like I don't.
Right.
Like you don't. There's nothing that. The only thing that's ever going to really stop me is death. Like the day that you bury me, that's the day I'll be stopped, you know?
Yep. That is awesome. All right, man. So now from 8 to 18, where did you find yourself? Did you have any role models during that time?
I would say I had a few role models because when I was a child, I was very into sports. I loved playing basketball. It was like my addiction. I used to love basketball sports. And I looked up to people like Michael Jordan. Many know this already, but I named Michaela after Michael Jordan. Her name is literally Michael with an A at the end. Her middle name is Jordan, and then my last name to Haas. So Michael Jordan was one of my biggest idols because he symbolized excellence. He took his field of basketball, and I don't even know if it was on purpose because he pretty much sucked in college almost, was worthless in high school. And all of a sudden, he just became the greatest player of all time. And that was always my hero as a kid because I just like somebody who excels. I always strive to be the best myself. If I do something, I want to be the best at it. And shortly thereafter that, I also The Rock. The Rock is one of my idols. I love his energy, his attitude, the way he talks. Like often you might even see sometimes just the way I talk in a storage unit. It's kind of like sometimes I feel like I model after the pizzazz he does when he does his little wrestling interviews. That, you know, that was one of my big idols. It was The Rock and Michael Jordan.
Right. Now, did you have any family members, maybe uncles, that kind of mentored you and said, "Hey, Michael, this is the way you want to go," or even maybe led by example and said, "Don't do this because I already did it"?
You know, honestly, you know, the lack of better words, I feel like almost everybody's my role model. You know how what's that old saying? It takes like a person to raise a fool, but a village to raise a man, or something like that.
Yeah.
I believe every human being you come in contact with is there to teach you something. The universe is always giving you the answers you need. It's what you do with it. And everybody in my life has molded me. Like my father wasn't the best role model. I mean, he's still in my life to this day. He still does the same things he did when I was born. But he never tried to be anybody else than what he was. He never tried to pretend he wasn't this person. But, you know, he taught me a lot of things not to do. You know, same with my mother. He taught me things to do as well. My uncles are very pitiful. If you ever watch my videos, you see Uncle Michael in my videos.
Yeah.
He's my real uncle. A lot of people don't know that. They just think he's just, his name is Uncle Michael. It's my mom's brother. And I spent a lot of my childhood with him. I worked with him for like 15 years as a mover. And like I said, often people are role models that don't even know they are, because if you're wise, you can learn mistakes through other people. So I've had a lot of people that have helped me get to where I am, because I believe every person is supposed to teach you one thing. Everybody that you come across will teach you one thing in life if you are receptive to understanding the things going on.
Exactly. And the key word is receptive. Have an open mind, open energy, and be willing to feel that. Wow, man. All right. Okay, well, let's get into your young adult time, your time frame, based on the first part of your life. What lessons did you carry forward, and what did you leave behind?
Like what you're talking like when I became an adult in early 20s?
Yeah. I'm saying okay, we already talked from up to 18. Okay, we're kind of fast forward. Now we're 21 to in your young adult time.
My those years for me were kind of it was like a complete opposite of what I used to, because granted I lived through sexual abuse. I was actually a virgin till I was almost 19 years old. I didn't do things like go out and party with people because I watched all that at home. I didn't have a thing for that, and I didn't have like many relationships. And then I ended up with one person, another person. Then I met the kid's mom, and I had a kid when I was like 20. There, enter Michaela, or maybe I was like 21. Enter Michaela Jordan. That it just became all pretty much work and try to raise a child when I didn't even know how to raise a child. Like I wasn't even raised myself. It's hard to it's a learning process when you have to become a parent, but you never really had an actual parent. So most of almost my entire 20s was basically work. Sometimes it didn't work out well. I mean, we've been homeless a few times throughout having her, and we've lived in, great environments at the same time. But most every bit of 20s was take care of Michaela. Then Michael came along, and it was just work. I was a furniture mover pretty much almost most of my 30s.
Wow. And that's literally a heavy job.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I love that job though, because I truly believe that job trained me to be a storage buyer, because the way I grew up, I study people. You don't really realize it, but I study everything around me, and I study human nature, and I got to move people. My dad actually took me on the road when I was 6 months old. He was a furniture mover too, and my mom and him went to Oregon. I did my first move job when I was 6 months old. I spent when I was like 5, people would tell I'd go to work and carry chairs, and I was always working my whole life. And then as an adult, same thing. And I studied what people do. I study like I can walk into a house and I can just kind of see this and that. And when I look in a storage unit, I can picture the person. I can picture what they did as a hobby, what they look like. It's weird, but that has made me what I call the locker whisperer, the ability to look in a storage unit, and I don't see it like other people. I think other people look at it and they're like, that's a can of X, that's $1. This is a little jar, that's this. And they look at the animate objects and they try to value things like that. I look at it as a person. I look at it as the potential, because I remember moving somebody who had the similar stuff. And psychologically, people also have these other things. And I believe it made me the storage buyer I am by moving furniture for 20 years.
That is amazing. Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. It sounds like everything happens for a reason, and that led you right into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, let's get into the reselling part then. When did you start buying stuff to sell? I mean, it sounds like you've been working your whole life. Tell us about some of the first flips that made an impact on your life and made you say, you know what, this is it. This is where I'm going to make my mark.
I really got into this business accidentally. Like I said, I've always been a hustler, so to speak. I don't like doing things like that will get me in trouble. I've always been adamant, because I've always watched people like my parents and other family and friends doing things that would get them in trouble. And I try to do things to the best of my ability. And the furniture business was a decent job. It didn't pay great, but it was a decent job. But one of the things I did to make extra money was everybody I moved, if I was doing a walkthrough, you show up to the house and they're telling you all this and this goes here. And then I'll always be like, that's the Goodwill pile. Well, I'll be like, hey, I'm Goodwill. And they would just give me stuff. So every day I would accumulate things. And then once a week on Sunday, I would go sell real quick for a few hours and just make a few $100 extra. Nothing really extravagant, but it was just extra money, So I started doing that for a long time. It's just like, it was just a fluke that I started selling at the flea market, because I was never, well, actually, to be honest, I've been selling stuff my whole life. I think about that. Like when I was a kid, I used to hustle baseball cards. I would go to the store, I would buy baseball cards. I'd sell kids individual ones. I'd go buy more packs. It's kind of always been a little bit of my blood. But so I used to sell these things from the move jobs. Well, when the market crashed for, housing, what was it, like 2008 or something?
Yep.
Yeah, big time in everybody's life. It almost created depression. Well, people stopped moving. When people stopped moving, they also stopped giving me free stuff. And so I had no lines really of income. And one day I went to an auction hosted by Dan Dotson of Storage Wars. It's just a fluke that I was there, but he was hosting it at my moving company. And I show up and there's vaults everywhere. There's all these stores. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Cool, there's an auction. So I joined the auction. I just dabble in it. And I was frugal then. Like I did nowadays, as you can see, I bought a unit for $34,000 last week. I'm not scared to spend money. But back then I was like, man, what the heck are these people buying?
Right.
There was a pile of stuff that people didn't want, furniture, crap that really wouldn't sell. And in the middle was an Aragon amp and a CD player. And he's like, I'm going to throw this CD player in with it. No one wanted it. I got it for $1. I bought it was a whole truckload for $1, but the Aragon amp I sold for $600 that night on Craigslist. And I literally just quit moving furniture. I was like, something in me was like, I worked 80 hours a week, maybe to make $1,000 or $1,200 on a good week. And I just made $600 in like 10 minutes. I just totally rolled the dice and quit moving and started researching storage units. This is long before television shows and everything. So it wasn't even talked about. And I just stumbled into the business, basically.
Yeah. Huh. What a trip. Well, so at that point, did you have, when you would go buy a storage unit, you got to have somewhere to bring this stuff back to, right? Or do you just did you just take it straight from the unit, sort it out, go to the flea market and go like that? Or did you actually bring it back to your house and process?
Well, at that time, I never really lived in a house at that time. I was always in apartments with the kids and stuff. So that wasn't like having that type of space. And I would bring home some eBay items and stuff. This is when I just started to learn eBay and everything. But basically, I tried to do whatever I could because I was limited funds when I first started doing it. I was like that guy who just came in and I was trying to buy every locker I could with, $200 to my name. And you might have seen him somewhere in some of my videos with Storage Scott. He's a friend of mine. He buys units. I helped him kind of start a channel, but he don't really make videos. But him and I went in this together. He wanted to quit moving furniture. And so we would dabble in renting public storage dollar units where you rent them for the month. It's like 36 out the door. You keep it for 31 days. Then you move it to another one. And then we'd always have that one that was like our central unit. And then we do things like you said, where you try to sell out of it and get those few extra days. But, if you do what you can, it's easy to operate. But it was hard. There was a few times I remember like 2 years into this, I actually lost my own storage unit and my apartment and everything. Ended up homeless.
Dang.
Like twice since I've started this job.
Man. Yep. And then you bounce back.
That's right here.
What's
hard to be a man who gives up.
You know what? Sometimes you have to fall hard and fast so you get a good bounce on the way back up, man.
Well, it's just like anything. Obvious to me, when I lose everything like that, those points in my life is because I wasn't listening to what the universe was telling me. I wasn't doing what I could have done. I was not doing things to the best of my ability. Rule number 4, the 4 laws of agreement. So,
Yep. We're going to acknowledge some people in the chat because that's the right thing to do. And I'm pretty big on that. So we're going to say hi to Don Mazahari. Thanks for being here. Anamora. What's up, Anamora? Swamp Picker Glenn, Mr. 100. How are you? Thanks for being here, sir. Let me scroll up here, see what we got going on. Just me, Kathy. We got Craig, Landshark Picker in the house. Just in time flipping. Thanks for being here. Mary Beth, Deathly Dills. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let's see who else we have here. Well, we've got 20 in the chat. Oh, Prella's Precious. Hello, Precious. How are you? I know my sister was here. Queen Cleopatra. Hello, Queen. Thanks for being here. Miss Nikki is here. Miss Lydia is here. Las Vegas Thrifts. That is starts with the C. Can't remember, man. I'm sorry. Not Cody. I apologize. Oh, Sunny. That's what it is. Sunny doesn't start with the C. All right, Jennifer Hayes. All right, everybody. We're going to get back to the interview. I just want to acknowledge all of you and thank you for all being here.
MD Wallace said, "What's your favorite breakfast food?"
What is your favorite breakfast?
Burritos from the Roach Coach.
Oh yeah, with the chorizo in it, or?
I'm a simp. I can't do chorizo. I just get bacon.
Yeah. Okay.
But they make my favorite breakfast food. I try to get one a day, like hash browns, eggs, and extra crispy bacon.
Man, that sounds good right about now.
It does, because I haven't eaten today.
You got to eat, dude. That's the one thing that I've been trying to do is eat more because I get in go mode and it's almost like food is an inconvenience. Do you feel that way sometimes? It's like, I got to stop to eat again. Dang it. I got,
I'm a type of person who could go a long period of time without eating. A lot of that's because of my childhood was food was scarce. Like we lived on food stamps, welfare. I've spent many Christmases and Thanksgiving at the shelter versus traditionally at home with family and stuff. Like, so to me, I've kind of been bred to not eat. I can not eat for like 15 hours in a day, and I get more energy as the day goes, which doesn't technically make sense. But
right.
I can also overeat real quickly too, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, in 2011, you uploaded your first video, the largest Pepsi collection found. Tell us your thought process about creating content, and did you envision your channel reaching the heights that it has today?
Man, to be honest, I've always had big dreams. I've always wanted to be something. I guess big would be the lack of better words. I've always wanted to brand myself, create something, and create some type of movement. And I started off with wanting to be on television. I actually filmed the first TV pilot that ended up becoming a TV show, which is known as Auction Hunters. But I filmed a TV show with Spike TV. I did some news interviews, radio interviews, and specials. And then I ended up on Storage Hunters with Lori and Brandon, which is where I met them. And I always kind of wanted to do that and have like a real reality show. It's something I wanted to do with moving furniture, as I wanted to create this reality show. And then it went into storages. But what I learned was reality TV is fake.
Yeah.
I don't give a hell what show you watch. It's not real. People on will be like, it's real because they want to get another season. But the fact is, reality show is fake, and so is television. And that turned me off. I signed a piece of contract that said that I had to waive the right to be shamed. Not like I don't mind being shamed. Like I'll shame myself any day, but I will never give anybody the full power to shame me at your discretion, you know? And so that's when YouTube started to come around as well. And I saw it as a platform where I kind of wanted to, you never watched the Truman Show?
Oh yeah, loved it. Yep.
I always had this idea of creating my own Truman Show where I'm being the most authentic, genuine person, not because it sells, you know, and you can clickbait somebody into watching you, but because that authenticism is priceless, you know? And so I saw YouTube as that platform when I first started it, but I didn't take it this serious because I think back then, like, people weren't balling out on YouTube. People weren't sitting at hundreds of millions of subs and getting $25,000 checks. It was just like, I was like, cool, I can make a video and just show people how to buy storages. So, you know, that was fun. So did you watch my first video? That's not even my first one. I've deleted one since then, but they were horrible back then. I was making like Snapchat posts almost, not YouTube videos. Like it was awful.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of commentary. It was a lot of walking and showing. Yeah.
I was so nervous back then. Like when I used to do radio and things like that, it was so hard for me because YouTube gave me the ability to not show my face. I could just show this and I would talk like this and like, hi everybody, I bought a storage unit. And you know, and throughout time, I've learned to become this person I am by forcing myself to face all my fears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube is a great way to just put yourself out there. And once you hit live or push that button, it's like something snaps in me, man.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be times leading up to a show where internally my brain is saying, oh man, I really I'm not feeling it. But I push live and it's go time. And everything happens.
I caught a lot of hell because of because people who buy storage units, they generally don't want others to know. So I started, but people don't realize I was doing storage videos for like 8 years before anybody even knew what a storage auction was. Like I was literally putting these out here. There was no other YouTuber doing storage videos. And everybody laughed at me. Friends, family, storage buyers, like they're just, haha, what are you doing? You know, your joke, this and that. And I just kept doing it. And then one day, for some reason, I randomly happened to film a safe opening up with $26,420 and put that on YouTube, which everybody laughed at me for doing too. They thought it was crazy. Why would you want to show that? Why would you want to pay taxes? You know, I always try to do things the right way. And then I didn't, like shortly after that, life went to hell for me. After I won that safe, I kind of jumped into a business that cost too much with my partner. We was paying like $4,000 a month for a building, doing too much. And then I lost everything. So I didn't make a YouTube video for almost a year and a half after that. But that video somehow out of nowhere just took off. And one day I got an email from YouTube and they're like, you know, you're accepted for monetization. And if you got to do this, and we have $600 waiting for you. And I was like, hey, check this out, you know? All right. I took it a little more serious, not like super serious, but that made me start at least putting out some content. But
so then at what point did you start really getting those, you know, catchy thumbnails and coming up with those crazy titles and, you know?
Well, I believe everything in life happens for a reason. And sometimes you will meet people that you regret you did, but you also learn from it. I've been saying that since the start of this interview. Everybody has something to teach you. And last year, I was starting to take it serious the year before that, but it's hard because you don't know. It's like anything. If you don't know how to do it, how are you going to do it? And I don't know anybody doing YouTube. You can't just randomly message, you know, you can't say, hey, Jeffree Star, teach me something. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, and then I ended up in a collab with the Hales, which then put me in contact with other people. And that was very pivotal for some of the things like a catchy thumbnail or the progression of a video. So many things in that collab I appreciate, but doesn't mean I would do it again if I was that same person, because, you know, sometimes in life is not best to meet people. So.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I remember that time it was, you had purchased some huge units, and wasn't it him that helped you divvy it all out? You shipped it all to Texas or something like that?
No, that was also a huge mistake too. Something I regret. That person that I sent it to is somebody I brought into the picture, was a friend of mine. That person that I sent it to was not in contact with these other people, but I am a very trusting person, and I believe and always hope for the best in people, but it teaches me a lot of lessons. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life, because that unit should have brought me well over $100,000. And I was pretty much, for the lack of better words, robbed. I was taken for a lot of money.
Man, yeah.
But you guys, many, I don't ever speak about this on YouTube, but many people know because of that person actually made a video saying that he distanced himself from many channels. But the fact was he was distanted from many channels because there's a lot of people that actually know what happened. And yeah, that was a bad mistake. I will never again trust another auction house or anybody with my stuff for that matter.
Yeah, man. You live and learn sometimes the hard way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It actually, it was very hard for me to, I almost couldn't, it almost kind of sent me over the edge. It almost put me in a position where I was going to jeopardize some of my channel, because I don't like being silent about things. And some people like Jack and Alex and Jeebus asked me to not discuss it on YouTube because it's only dramatic. But we were all set to do another collab on Christmas last year, and I backed out because of being taken for a lot of money, which triggered other people to back out. And then that caused other channels to be pissed off and want to be dramatic towards me on YouTube and stuff like that. When, yeah, sometimes you shouldn't do collabs. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm an island, bro. I really, you don't see me doing a whole lot of stuff with people. And kind of for that fact, when I first started YouTube, you know, there was whatever, doesn't matter. But anyway, back to you. That's what's important. So now please explain to the watchers exactly what it took to position yourself to where you're at today. I mean, I know you had to overcome a lot of adversity as a child, and as you're in your 20s, you were doing this and that. But in the last couple of years, I've seen you, you know, you've gotten to that new house, you got the whole family together. At one point you were at your mom's, and I was like, that is so great to be with your mom. So
that was actually, that was the woman that I took to court and got custody of my kids from. That was actually her mom I was living with.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But I mean, I look at her in a lot of ways like my mom, because granted, we fought in court over the kids. It wasn't until after I got custody and she saw how her daughter wouldn't change that she started to actually appreciate what I did, because, you know, for most important to me is my children. Above all else is that I at least give my kids a decent childhood, which I don't feel I was actually given, and some type of guidance to become something they want to be. And yeah, it's hard. Like, life has a way of working its way like this. If you're not doing it right, it's going to go down. If you're doing it right, it's going to go up. You know, every equal high is equal low. And I put myself in bad positions. Like when I ended up homeless last year, there's no one to blame. It was me who was not working hard enough. It was me who was not doing certain things because I let another woman maybe get into my head, or whatever the cases may be. And so I lost everything and put me and my two children in a hotel. And that pissed me off. Like, like I try really hard to do stuff, but I let everything fall apart. And we did spend almost 8 months in a hotel last year, longer than I should have, because I worked, like I literally, when we lost our house, I had $3 to my name. I was very honest and open about that. And I did everything I could. I was going and picking up estate cleanouts that should have went to the dumps and taken it to the flea market for $400, and then trying to get an extra 200, then trying to get 1,000 at the auction, and spending it all while living in a hotel just to try to double up. And I did everything I could because I believe in the storage business. I know what it's capable of. And then I hit that $7,000 locker, which should have escalated really big. But like I said, I trusted the wrong person and ended up with like less than a third of what I should have actually made off that unit. And that was irritating, but the universe always has a way of working out. I then hit the art locker, which made me almost 50 grand like that. Those priceless pieces of art. And I believe that happened because the universe gives to you when you do what's right during a situation that was wrong.
Yep. And you never know how close or how far away that next step or that next triumph is going to be. But if you stop, you're never going to get there. So you just keep going and it works itself out because it's supposed to.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to continue on with all, like I was literally but before I lost the house that year, the year before, almost 2 years, I had another house where I was living with a woman, and she swindled the landlord to accept a letter that she put in my behalf and took my house from me and put me in a hotel with my kids out of my own home. So I ended up fighting through that and getting this nice home, or not even nice home, I just ain't getting a home for me and my children who we were in a hotel. And I did that during court. You know how hard it is to be in court fighting for your children's custody while you're homeless in a hotel as a dad in California? Like,
wow,
odds couldn't have been more against me, you know?
Right.
But
yeah, the greater the odds, the greater success, though, you know?
It's this right here. It's hard to be a person who I don't stop. It's going to take a coffin to make me stop, period. Right.
Yep. We're going to get into some general questions, man. Just general questions.
General questions are
fine. So now I know we've kind of touched on this. You said that you get something from everybody and everybody kind of inspires you. But my question is written here. Who inspired you in the past and who inspires you now? Are there any, I mean, I know you listen to some different things, but is there anyone on YouTube that you like to watch, whether they're large or small? Is there, what do you look for in a human?
The greatest motivation I have had for about the last year is love. Many who watch my channel know that there was a woman in my life that for a long time I couldn't make her my woman. We were like best friends, but it was hard to get that connection I was looking for. And my friend Andy is a really big inspiration for me. He does a lot of studying and he listens to people like motivational people. And then he tells it to me because I'm not very good at watching stuff. Like I'm what you call like a kinetic learner, where I have to actually experience it, which is why bad situations sometimes click in my brain, because it kind of takes like a tornado to get me to wake up, so to speak. So he'd always come at me with these things like, you know, to inspire me and to help break my negative thinking cycle. You know, like he said, he always tells me it takes 64 days to form a habit, or that repetition to change it. So he used to come to my house every day and tell me a story he learned about, like by Napoleon Hill or something, or just so many things like that. And I learned later on, after I finally was done just being negative, I was like, that's what this guy was doing the whole time when he was talking about repetition. He was just coming over trying to break my habits. But he told me something at the beginning of last year, January. Do I have the life that the woman that I want deserves? Do I have the life her kids deserve? Am I the man she deserves? And I wasn't there in any of those areas. So all of last year, even though whether I was in a hotel or what it was, my whole goal was to build myself to be a better person and my life, because I believe that this woman deserves the world. And I have to be able to give her that. So that has probably been the greatest motivation I've had for the last year or two, is
love
the woman, my little woman.
The love of your woman. Yeah, women will make you do crazy things. They will make you better. And, they always say behind every good man's a good woman. I don't believe that. I believe a good woman's right next to you,
Yeah,
pushing
exactly.
forward, and sometimes behind you, kicking you in the butt, because that's what we need sometimes. Am I right?
They can make you I don't know if you believe in the mastermind. That's one of the things my friend Andy would teach me, that
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill said that
Yeah.
his greatest mastermind was his wife. She was the most inspirational person. Every day he woke up, she would send him off to work and be like, "You're going to do it, honey. You're going to make us rich, or you're going to be this person." And
Yeah.
his greatest mastermind was his wife, because she gave him the motivation that he needed to become what he wanted to be.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Napoleon Hill. Back in my car selling days, I purchased the audiobooks of Napoleon Hill, and I just started selling cars. We were living with my in-laws because my landlord had pulled a shotgun on one of his tenants, so I was out of there because we had a 1-year-old daughter. So we moved out. Anyway, I started listening to this stuff every night. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and because I knew my subconscious would pick it up, and my goal was to be just the best. And I was the top salesman of the year. And so I totally believe in, putting that good stuff into your brain. For me, it pushes out the negative, or it kind of offsets it. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him. Like I said, for me, it's hard to study. Like if I went to sit there and read something, I won't never absorb it. My brain goes in so many directions that I don't take it in. But I pick up things from Andy, and that's where he taught me the mastermind, and I learned about Napoleon Hill, and he's somewhat part of, like, The Secret is something that really changed my life too. The thoughts become things, and manifesting what you want in life. Because the bottom line is, if you don't believe something's ever going to happen, it's not. You've already told the universe it'll never happen. And my thought process is, everything you want is already in existence. You're just not there yet. You need to get to that point where the fruition comes to life. And it's very powerful to have the right mindset, the right thoughts.
You have to keep yourself in the right mindset. I'm sure you've heard this quote then, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill.
You got to conceive to achieve.
Yep.
Or believe to achieve.
Yeah, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Good stuff. All right, so tell us about your crew. We see Uncle Mike. We see the Salt Princess. We see Mikey. Who else is in your crew there that puts his shoulder to the wheel and helps you?
Well, for me, like, that's one of my biggest failures as a businessman, is I hate letting other people do stuff, because in my eyes, people don't have the passion I do for success. They just treat everything like a job, So I don't let many people into my work circle unless I know they're at least on somewhat going to do somewhat of a decent job. But Uncle Michael is a lot of where my work ethics came from. Him and my Uncle David I work with, they were very adamant about doing things to the best of their ability. They want to be the best at their job, right? So Uncle Michael does things like me, like when you go to do something and somebody moves a box this way or loads something like that, it's annoying. But since I worked with Uncle Michael for 20 years, we pretty much do things the same way. So it's real easy to use him. My daughter will help me, but she's still kind of like a lazy teen. Like, she's in that position where she still lives with dad, and dad pays all the bills, so she don't have to be so gung-ho. So she don't really like working that much. So I use her sometimes, but not like a lot. She's not motivated enough to take things serious. And my son, he's as useless as a tits on a board, it seems. He don't do nothing but play Fortnite, Like, he doesn't. When he was a kid, he worked a lot with me. Like, he used to do flea markets when he was like 10 and stuff. And for a long time, they helped me. But ever since like Fortnite and certain Minecraft games came out, I can't barely get him to do a dang thing unless I break the modem or want to destroy the internet,
Right.
So kids are not as helpful as you wish they are. Like, a family business is supposed to be a family business, but my kids are not where I would like them to be as far as motivation and worth. But I do have help. Like, if you ever watch recently, you see Clint in my videos. He helps me do a lot of eBay ads. He's a very successful businessman. He has his own little contract with grocery stores that makes good money, but he's like me. He always wants more. So he comes over and makes ads for me. So I got somebody who helps me with eBay. And then I have my flea market crew, George and Tony. I call them Harry and Lloyd. They're great. I just show up at the market. I pay them to unload. They do all the work. They sell. And then when it's time to go, I just roll the door up and they take the rest of the trash. They sell it for a couple hours. So that process is great. And outside of that, there's really not anybody in my team,
Yeah, I always envisioned all the kids and everybody just throwing down every day.
I wish. I wish. The two little ones who are now live with me, two little women's kids, they're actually darn near more helpful than my children, but they're not allowed to be on the YouTube videos, so you don't see them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Caroline used to love to be on, and that we kind of cut that off about a year ago. Yeah. So
Why'd you do that?
after that stuff that went down with me, that you're like, I would have filmed that. And I was like, man.
I wouldn't let that stop you though, because it's not against the rules. I don't know how that happened, because like my children have been in my video since day one. Like it's not against the rules or nothing. And only reason that the two little ones aren't is the mom just doesn't want them on YouTube. So I'm praying one day she'll change her mind, because they want to be on so bad, and I put them on a heartbeat. But you know, that's not my choice. But you know, your kid probably loves that. Don't let that stop you. She probably enjoys the heck out of it.
Yeah, she did. I don't know if she does anymore though. I mean, last time I was live, she came downstairs and I was like, "Do you want to come on, say hi?" She's like, "No, I don't want to." So I'm just like, "Okay, you know, there'll be a time when she wants to, I'm sure."
They get nervous. It's weird. Like my daughter does that. Like sometimes she's completely, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then other times she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the camera's on." You know?
I know. Huh?
It's funny.
Yeah. So now, what advice would you have for a guy that wanted to get into the storage business? Does he have to have $1,000? Can he go with $100 and just hope for the best? I mean, what would you say that a guy needs to have somewhere to bring his stuff back to?
I'm not one of those people who are afraid for new people to come in. I encourage everybody to, but I would tell my first thing would be like, don't do it if you're not motivated. If you're not self-motivated and have a high level of energy, don't become a storage buyer.
Yeah, a lot of work.
That's number one. It is nonstop work. Even without like a YouTube channel and stuff, the storage business is never ending. To make it successful, it's not you go buy a 5x10 and you sell that for 3 months and you're going to pay your bills. The storage business is you are there every single day. You're buying a unit, you're rooting a unit, you're dumping the unit, or you're selling it. That process never ends, and you need to buy and buy and buy. It does not take a lot of money. As you know, last year I had $3 to my name. And the reason why I did it, what I did with showing YouTube, is not for sympathy, because I turned off donations and super chat for a reason, but it was to show everybody that you don't need this to do it, but you need to grind it out to build it up. Because you don't want to be the guy who goes to the auction and always misses that unit because you don't have enough that day. Trust me, that keeps me from going to auctions, because I can't stand watching a unit go for $4,000 and I only had $3,000. Pisses me off, you know. I don't mind stopping when something's met my threshold, but when I don't have enough to buy it, that pisses me off to no end. So I hustle and hustle and hustle until I have more and more. So like a fair number to go to the auctions, if you can, is like 5,000, but I would go with $3.
Okay.
It's weird, but like I scare people just as much at the auctions having $3 in my pocket as I do having $10,000. People are so pissed off when I show up, because I will go the distance. But you could buy a locker for $5. It is usually something small. You can go home that day, list it to eBay, sell some items, and be back the next day with $100. And then you step your game up. Now you bought a $50 or $100 unit, and you do the same thing. Now you turn your 100 into 300. By the end of the week, you might have 500 at the auction, you know, and you keep that ball rolling. I don't think anybody should hold back. I hear people say stuff like, I don't have a place to put it. Well, I've been renting a storage unit since day one. It's a tax write-off, and it gives me space outside of my home. A vehicle, you can rent a U-Haul, $19.99 a day plus miles. I mean, there's everything in the world. Any business, it takes money to make money. So if you are scared to spend a little money to make money, it's the wrong business for you. Period.
Right. Yep. You have to reinvest in more product. Otherwise you can't flip and stack.
Sometimes you got to be willing to risk it all. I've literally, I can't tell you how many times since I've started this, the 28th of the month, I've spent all my rent money and electricity on a unit that I got to get back by the 1st, or maybe the 3rd, because I'm going to pay it a little late. But I knew that unit was going to make me 1,000 or 2,000 extra that I'd have after paying those with a late fee and stuff. Like you have to sometimes be willing to go the distance to get where you want to be.
Yeah, you have to do what others are unwilling to do because of the fear and just do it, you know, knowing that.
Yourself back because of fear. Fear is the number one cause of failure, because you've already told yourself all the reasons you're scared, and that's given the universe the power to bring it to you, because that's what you're thinking of.
Yep.
When you roll the dice, you have to roll the dice with nothing but win and success as the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen to affirmations as I sleep now, and they sound kind of crazy. It's just some lady talking, saying, you know, money is coming your way and opportunities and all this stuff. I listen to it for 8 hours a night, dude, on YouTube. You just push it on YouTube and just listen to it, because that first like 10 minutes when you're falling asleep is when your brain waves kind of change and your subconscious kicks in and it gets registered. And yeah, just pound that kind of stuff into my brain.
I like my favorite person to listen to is Gary Vee. If I was to listen to somebody who knows business and motivation, I listen to Gary Vee. That's like my go-to person. I like his abrasive, like you know.
Yeah. Have you checked out Eric Thomas?
No.
Eric Thomas. I'll send you some stuff, man. Eric Thomas is good stuff.
All right, I'll check him out.
Okay, so if you ever have any downtime in those few hours, what do you enjoy doing in your downtime? I know it's not video games or TV. I'm sure it's something else.
Honestly, downtime to me is cooking dinner for the family, or getting to spend some moment with the little woman alone. Like that, I don't do things outside of that. Like I am 100% either for the family or work. I work. If I get up at 5, I'm off to work. I get up at 7, it's off to work, you know, and I don't stop till 11 or 12 at night. Sometimes I'll cook. I'll make the girls some lunch. I'll cook the family dinner, but I'm back to work after that. You know, it's nonstop for me. But that's it. Like I don't like doing many things. I'm really just a family man or a worker. So
exactly, yeah. No vacations. I mean, where's to go?
What's a vacation?
What's a vacation? Yeah, I guess I can't say that.
I had one the last 2 months when they made us stay home.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so how are you doing with all this? Has it affected you at all? Are you just business as usual?
Honestly, the quarantine was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I've never made more money in my entire reselling career than the 2 months they made me sit at home. I don't make sense.
Right. Yeah, you know, there is opportunity in crisis if you can step away from the fear factor of it all and say, okay, well, how can I utilize this to the best of my ability and my family's? How is it going to benefit my family? Because there's always a grain of good in every bad situation.
It wasn't even I don't even think it was like the benefit of it happening, but it was more like the adaptation of changing my process. Because like I was looking for a long time. I was talking to Alex and Jack, Locker Nut Store Stalker. I would talk to them all the time. Like, we should just quit the market and sell online only, and we'd probably make more money. We just toss the garbage. We sell everything online to get more, and we'd probably do better and be out looking for more units. And all of a sudden, after 2 months of talking about it, quarantine came. And all three of us were forced to basically be internet sellers. And so all of a sudden, I was listing more. Before, I wouldn't list much to eBay. Last year for me was $14,000, my worst year on eBay. But that's because I wasn't making ads. And then all of a sudden, quarantine came. I started making ads. So obviously, your numbers go up. But they went really high up. I was doing almost $15,000 a month. But YouTube auctions were a blessing. Like I decided to test what is capable. Not because I was necessarily greedy and just wanted money, but what if markets die forever? What if there's never a flea market again because of COVID? You know, what if this? What if that? You have to understand what's possible. So I decided to take YouTube auctions seriously, and I did them almost every day for a month. In about a month and a half, I did a total of 30 auctions on YouTube, and I sold $64,000.
See that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've been around for a minute, and I remember seeing these auctions coming up. Different people, you know, it wasn't you, it was other people doing auctions, right? I'm like, that's cheating, man. I'm a reseller. That's that's cheating. I can't do that. So I never did, right? But I saw everybody else doing it, and then my mom's hot water heater went out. I don't know if you remember that happened back in March. Hot water went out, and I was like, okay, I need to come up with some cash for my mom now. How am I going to do it? Auction, and I did it. And I was like, okay, so now why haven't I done it again? I don't know if there's still this little fear inside of me or what the deal is, but I need to get in on that because I have some really cool stuff, just like everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what my problem. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, man. Take action.
I felt the same way about it, you know, but because I started doing YouTube auctions like almost 2 years ago. Alex and I was doing them. We'd sit in the garage, we just drink Coronas and sell stuff, you know, and it was like, it was more like a party, you know, like, hey, it's fun. But it was kind of a hassle, right? And then fast forward to the future, there was people like Donatello who was doing them successfully, and then Locker Nuts started doing them heavily. And then I dabbled into it a little bit, but it wasn't clicking in my brain. I was like, cool, I sell $1,000, you know, right on. That was, but when you do it once a week, it doesn't feel right. You know, it's just cool. It's $1,000. It's like going to the flea market. But then when I took it seriously, and I'm like, Jesus, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't sell for as much as I do on eBay.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, here we go. Here we got a phone. We're going to do it. It's sold. That there's something about that versus the list it to eBay, put on a shelf, and wait for the future for it to happen. That's not as fun.
Like all this stuff sitting around me. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still eBay heavily right now, and I'm going to be doing it a lot with that $34,000 unit. But I've never sold that much stuff. I literally did 30 days of auctions in about a month and a half. Some of them were for me. Some of them were for friends of mine. I would help them out because they couldn't sell. So I would hold an auction. I'd sell them the stuff. We'd split the money 50-50, but I would cover the shipping, which was fair. I'm going to be responsible tax time for their half. So, you know, whatever. But 64,000 I sold in 30 auctions in a month and a half.
That's life changing, bro. That would pert near pay off my house. I only owe 89,000. That could almost do that.
It cost me a little bit. Like I probably spent maybe about 12,000 almost in shipping out of that, or 10,000 somewhere in there. So that came out of my pocket, you know.
Right.
And there was obviously 10 or 1,000 or so that went to my friends because I sold stuff for them. But I walked away with almost 40 grand.
Nice, dude. Props, respect. I need to say thank you to Oscar El Cubano for that $5 super chat. I appreciate that, sir. It is hard to beat a guy who never gives up. And I'm done with my questions here, so now it's just a free form. It's a free form, dude. Whatever questions you guys have. Fat Man the Flipper, Alex, thank you, sir, for that $5 super chat. What Oscar said, I appreciate that.
Oscar and Alex, those are two of my really good friends. Like we're like this little, you know, kid-like group chat that we talk in every day, all day. And, they have helped me a lot just being my friend in the last couple months and helping me talk through things that happened on YouTube and stuff that I wanted to just go verbally with. And they've helped keep me calm and stuff like that. They're really good dudes, all around good dudes.
I want to say thank you to Hustling the Hustlers for that $2 super chat. I cleaned out my jewelry with Mike's help. That's
Benji is a very good friend of mine too, kind of like a mentor and somebody who helps me stay positive and not make the wrong mistakes, and is good advice on reselling. Very good friend of mine too.
I also like to thank Suburban Beard and possibly even Manny, Manny the mannequin, for kicking down $5. I appreciate that.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So is anyone in the chat have any questions for this gentleman? Now was your chance to talk to him.
Empty Wallet asked if Harold and I made up. No, Harold and I did not make up. Harold, I have to keep at a distance sometimes. He is the type of guy who wants to take advantage of a situation all the time. And sometimes I just get frustrated with that. So I just had to push him to the side because he was trying to meddle too far into my YouTube and the auction system, more for his own benefit than what was for the good of my cause. So I had to just cut that cord for now.
Sometimes you have to fire people that you love.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. Or loved. I want to say thanks again to Alex, Fat Man Flipper. What Manny said, he says, and I want to say something about Alex. Last year when I was going through all my craziness in the summertime, he was one of the dudes that reached out to me, and his energy and positivity and good words really helped kind of give me a push through that time. So Alex, you know, it's been a year. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, Alex has taken me by surprise from I remember the first time I ever saw Alex, I was watching Kimberly's video, I think it was. I believe it was Borderline Porterish, and I never knew who Alex was, and I was just in the chat, and I said hello, and literally Alex broke into tears. Like he was, I don't. It was for lack of better words, it was the weirdest thing to me because I've never seen somebody just happy that I was there in the chat. Like I never see that before. He literally had a tear because I was in the chat, and that really took me off guard. It just stuck in my head.
Yeah. I don't know if I've cried when you jumped in my chat, but I know whenever you popped in yesterday, and that was like
he was excited.
It's just like it's like a feature, dude. It's like you swooping in, and there's Mike. He took 5 minutes out of his day to come into my show. That feels like it's amazing, dude. It's like a feature. Like you just and then Wade came on too after you or before you or whatever, and so to have people of your caliber, which we're all human, but y'all are like, that's why you're in my song, dude. Storage Auction Pirate. I know you heard, because I look up to you guys. So even though we're human, so we're the same, but you're here and I'm here and I'm working on it.
Very active in lives. Like I don't look at somebody as, oh, look at him. He has 300,000 subs. That makes him cool. And this person doesn't. I look at people as a human being, and I watch more lives than you could think of. But I honestly, I'll tell you, I don't watch anybody's videos. I don't have time to watch anybody's videos, but I will make time to be in your life. That's, to me, it's personal. You're there. We can communicate. And I try to watch as many people's lives as I can potentially be in.
Yeah, that is awesome. I want to say thank you to Mary Beth for that $4.99 super chat. What everybody else said. Everybody's copying. Everyone's saying ditto to everybody. Ditto. Everyone saw Ghost. And I saw another one pop in. Suburban Beard says, Alex, Oscar, and Jordan help me stay with YouTube and stick around with reselling. And now it's all growing because of them.
Super chat tornado going through here. That's nice.
That is very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Fatman the Flipper says, for Don's TP. Don, you running short on TP? We'll get you taken care of. And Just Me Kathy says what they all said. So everybody's dittoing everybody with the super chats. I appreciate you guys, man. God bless you. I love it. And Veronica, the cherry picker, I appreciate that. Land Shark Picker says numbers of subs or views have no bearing on how good or bad a nice person is. And that's true, man. I mean, I've seen some of the biggest YouTubers that are really nice, and then some that are really not. And I've seen some of the smallest YouTubers who have the biggest hearts that would do anything for anybody. And then there's other small YouTubers who think that they're the world.
I've learned my lesson with that by you presume, because you're like, hey, this person's got 150,000 subs. They got to be a nice person. Chances are they don't. More often than not, they don't. They're not. Right. It's a weird world because YouTube is kind of. I see. People get dazzled by subscribers. They think that they're like, oh my God, that person has so many subs. They got to be great. And, it's like an illusion, It's an illusion. You can have 0 subs and be the greatest person, and you can have 1 million subs and be the biggest douchebag,
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Don. Don's been in my YouTube world for the since I started pretty much. Don. She's always been around. I remember having so much fun when I had like 15 or 18 subs and I had 2 people in the chat and it was just me and them, and it felt like I'm doing it. This is it, So back when you got monetized and were able to go live and stuff, what were the stipulations then? Because when I started, you had to have 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subs. Or no, 100 subs. 100 subs.
I got monetized before that, like the one before. But like I said, I don't even remember because I was just literally sitting there one day and I look at my phone and they're like, I don't even check all my emails. You know how you always have like 10 emails and then one day you're like, I'm going to check that old email, see if anything's going on. Yeah. And it was like, hey, you're monetized. Just hit this button. And now it blew my mind. But it came out of nowhere because the safe video just ended up with like 2 million, 3 million views on its own. Like I wasn't even planning it. It just happened. And it's weird. Like I spent almost 8 years before I ever hit 1,000 subs. I did videos for 8 years about hitting 1,000 subs.
Wow. I need to say thank you to Just Me Kathy. She's in the chat. She's kicked down $4.99 super chat. If you haven't checked out her channel, check out her channel as well. Have you ever watched her? I'm sure you have. She does some dumpster diving, and she did she's been blessed at these dumpsters, and then she donates all that food to people who need it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. So she's a very nice lady.
It's sad that they don't allow us in California to do it. Because I would like to make videos,
Huh.
some dumpster just for fun and stuff, even, but it's illegal. And I'm worried about
Really?
the cops busting me.
Right. Yeah. Caffeinated Christy, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. I truly do. Manny the Mannequin, he's gonna go relax. Someday I'll show you the lower half of my female, or I've got an upper half and a lower half, Manny. So I'll hook you guys up someday. Fat Man the Flipper, one more. Todd, you are genuine, caring, and kind, a true hustler. I look forward to hearing the positive message you send me. You too keep me grounded. You know, I, I think I've said this before that we're all like ants, and one ant by itself can get a lot done because they're resilient. But as a group of ants, we can do anything, you know. So when I bring people into my crowd or my little circle, which they say that you become the sum total five of the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
So the people I surround myself with is pretty small. And
That's
Alex is one of
exactly
them.
why I distance myself from most people, because
Yeah.
I will not allow others' energy to be my failure.
Right. Yep. Yep. For sure, man. And I talked about you being in your own lane, and I think that's sometimes what we just have to do. Don't look left or right, put the blinders on, stay focused, and don't worry about what anybody else is doing, because chances are they don't give a crap what you're doing or how you're doing.
In all actuality, it's true. It's funny
Yeah.
because that storage stalker said that quote to me last night. He was asking me how the unit was that I bought, and then he didn't respond. And him and I was like, "Oh, I guess you didn't really want to hear." And he said, "Nope, I'm just staying in my own lane." It's funny because I heard that from him last night, and I hear it again. So it's almost like the universe wants me to hear that. That's the way I take that.
Synchronicity, or what do they call it? I think that's the word. Somewhere where everything just kind of lines up the way it's supposed to line up. Yep. All right. Well, this has been quite a show, guys. I mean, we've heard a lot from Michael, from his rough upbringing, overcoming parents that I'm sure loved him dearly, but humans are humans, and we all have things that we have to go through. And just because you're a parent doesn't mean you're going to always do the right thing. But I'm sure that they tried, and they're doing great now. And you've turned out to be a hell of a man. You're taking care of business, you're refocused, and you've overcome some huge hurdles and obstacles. And that is why I respect you, man, because if everything is given to somebody, it's hard to say, yeah, I look up to you, but it was given to you, versus, man, I had nothing, and now I'm slowly building myself up. I mean, yeah, dude, I'm just in shock. So I try not to fanboy out, and I know that it's hard. I'm like, Michael, okay, calm down, Todd. He's Mike, man. He's cool. He's good. But I remember you saying at one point, Todd, you're the first person, or the only person that calls me Michael. Most people call you Mike. Is that right?
I want to say something because Justin Time Flippin said, "Pirate, I'll say your line, scare money, don't make money, is very inspirational for one's need, more confidence and larger buys." It is a great statement, but always don't just take that statement and be like, "I'm going to go out and throw around money and expect it to work." Make sure you're following your gut. Follow your gut always, not your heart or your mind, because they will trick you. Your gut is always right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my biggest flips have been with my gut,
Yeah,
and a little bit of luck.
Because I sometimes I learned that, like, I have this weird thing, the way I feel when I'm getting crazy on a storage unit, there's different feelings. Sometimes it comes from like my upper area, sometimes it comes from my lower area, but they mislead me sometimes. So I had to learn to follow only certain instincts when I'm getting wild on a storage unit, or even if I'm a shop at the flea market or something. I do some wild things sometimes trying to make money. So always follow your gut, not your heart or your brain.
And be careful what you eat before you're trying to follow your gut. Stay away from the burritos and so forth, because it just might be gas.
Yep.
Justin Time says, absolutely. Sometimes you need to touch the stove to know it's hot. Yeah, man, that's how we learn, the hard way. But you never forget.
That's the best way to. I always feel the best way to learn is trial and error, even if it's a loss. Failure causes success. That's one of my favorite videos. Is Will Smith's "Failure Causes Success." It is sometimes the best way to learn is a mistake, is a setback, because you'll know not to do it next time or how to do it better, which is priceless.
Yeah, I've learned that there really is no such thing as a failure. It's just an undesired result.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to back up, regroup, and push forward and keep going. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. That is awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think we've taken up, or not taken up his time. We have been blessed with his time. Now we need to let him go and go see his woman, go have some food, go snuggle up and spend a little bit of time loving, because that's really what this is all about, man. Just showing love to everyone, You showing love to your woman, us showing love to the watchers, and yeah, man. And I've got my bracelet here. Love lovers. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So, is there any questions that people want to have for Michael? Is there anything that you would like to impart to us before we go? Where can we find your merchandise? You're on Teespring. Like that hat
I don't
wearing?
know. I don't know if the Teespring that keeps showing up because it's not linked to my channel is mine. I think maybe possibly somebody's been selling without mine, but I don't use that logo. I'm producing hats anytime now. I'm just waiting for the company to be like, okay, we can do out of quarantine business, but I'm gonna start selling on my Shopify hats, shirts, sweaters, etc., etc. But for now, I don't technically have them. I just have my I Love Lovers bracelets on eBay, but the only thing that I do, I have a Shopify that's in the link of every one of my videos for the description where I sell mystery boxes anywhere from $25 to $1,000.
Okay. Good deal, because I know people are going to want something like that hat off your head, fat man.
I know Alex wants the actual one. He don't want a new one. He wants the one I'm wearing.
That is kind of cool to have the hat off of someone's head. I've got, you're in California, so have you ever heard of Pennywise, the band?
Yeah, I think so.
They're from Hermosa Beach. I got to meet them a couple times, and I have the hat off his head, which is kind of special. So, somebody here wants to know, what does somebody see? I saw some here. Oh, I need to thank you, Craig, very much for that $4.99 super chat. I want to thank everybody for all those super chats. That is amazing. I appreciate it very much. Both of you stay positive. You're doing awesome.
I actually let the subscribers choose this logo. I paid, there's a company called 99 Designs, and you pay like $300, and they'll make so many, and then you choose 6, and then they'll hone those down. The subscribers are the ones who actually chose this one. It wasn't my first choice, but the majority of the subscribers' votes went for this, and that's why I went with this one.
Yeah, it's catchy, man. I like it. It's got the play button. It's got the crossbones. Yeah, it's sweet. How long have you had that logo?
I think at the beginning of this year is when I chose it. Now it's on everything. I have my trailer wrapped in and stuff, but I was going for a gold coin. I started off wanting I wanted a pirate chest, and then halfway through the contest, I wanted a gold coin. I just wanted something that had the YouTube logo, and then it ended up in this. But I like this. It's not too much. It's not too little.
Right. It's very cool. Anna Mora asks, what is your favorite to flip?
My favorite thing to make money off of?
Yeah.
Anything that yields the highest profit margin. I don't specialize in nothing because that's I know a lot of people that do that. Like I've been talking to my friend a lot lately. He sells at flea market. All he wants is sports and wrestling stuff. And I'm like, money doesn't care that you came from a wrestling doll. Money doesn't care that you came from an A shirt. Money we'll be happy whenever it comes to expand and sell. I will sell anything but drugs or guns unless I can make them legal with the DOJ.
Yeah, man, I'll flip drawers. I flip bras, makeup, whatever.
You know how many I sold during quarantine? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Empty Wallet asks, do you have any future projects like an auction house, perhaps?
It would be nice. There's another channel called Picker's Warehouse. He's a friend of mine. He's been hinting around an auction house and stuff, and potentially me being part of it. But I have a really bad taste in my mouth for auction houses after last year, so I don't know. I want a system that's just fast. I just like to buy units, open boxes, and I'm not trying to be. What my real goal with storage business is, I'm hunting treasure. I always wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid. I'm looking for a Picasso. I'm looking for a Monet. I'm looking for the greatest find. I'm not trying to make a paycheck. I want to expedite the process to increase my purchasing ability because it's all probability to me. And the more I buy, the more I increase the chance of finding this world's greatest treasure.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
I
then
don't know ever. I don't know. I've tried to store it, failed. Auction houses have a really crooked setup usually, and I just want speed of service. I just want to buy it and sell it as fast as I can.
right. Yeah, those fast flips are nice. All right, Michael. Well, I want to thank you once again for your time. We've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. I appreciate every minute of that time. I appreciate everyone that's in the chat. Right now we have 27 people. I don't know how much money you guys donated tonight, but I appreciate that. And trust me, I will put it to good use. I'm not sure for what, but I will do something with it good. So I want to
appreciate you having me on this show.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Not every day somebody says, "Hey, I want you to come on. I'm going to interview." That's nice.
Yeah, well, I wanted to just get to know beside the mic that we see, just what's your story, dude? Basically.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I think I exposed a lot of it. So
Yeah, you did, and I appreciate you sharing that out today on all your social media and stuff. And I know that everybody else appreciates you. So that said, I want to say God bless you. Thank you for teaching us what you've taught us, and we look forward to learning a lot more and watching you progress, watching your star rise, and watching you shine.
awesome.
All right. Everyone have a great night. Thank you for being here. God bless you. 1438. Bye, guys.